Hey, hello guys, and thank you so much for coming to another one of my videos. Today, I am finally going to go ahead and play Valoria for you guys. Now, for this video, first, of course, I have to tell you what the abilities do because it's going to be very important to know what you can do and the things that you are going to be taking advantage of. Okay, first of all, the passive that you have is going to be middle. I don't know how you pronounce it, but yeah, for this one, every time you use an ability, your next basic attack is going to deal extra damage. Now you can get 3 charges, and the duration of your charges, I don't know what it is, but I've been testing it, and it seems to be longer than 10 seconds, 20, 30 seconds. It doesn't seem to disappear, but then again, it could be 1 minute. I have no idea, but do not worry, guys. You should have just enough time to be able to use this passive with no problems and take advantage of it, of course, because you kind of want to you want to take advantage of your passive. Now, the first ability is going to be Onward. This is the first ability that I do level up. The reason is that the cooldown on it is going to go from 15 seconds to 9 seconds, and not only that, the damage is going to be up as you level it up. At level 4 is going to be 100 damage base physical damage, and with 50% critical I'm sorry, with 50% physical ratio. Now for this, since you can cast the ability 3 times, you're going to be doing 300 base damage and 150 physical ratio. So that's going to be a very good ability, and it's also very good for stacking your passive. So that is the thing. That's the first ability that I level up. Now the second ability, which is Death from Above, you leap to the designated area, damaging and stunning nearby enemies. The range of it is very good. The AoE that you have once you land, it's also very good. It now gives you a shield. From what I've seen, it's usually about 200 HP. I'm not quite sure. It could be based on percentage. That's the thing that I haven't really looked into it, and it doesn't have any description as of what is the absorption that the shield has. Now the damage is pretty nice. It has 100% physical ratio. The physical damage is gonna go from 60 to 180. Not much of a difference. It does have some difference, but what it really makes a difference is the stun. The stun duration is gonna be from 0.75 of a second to 1.5 seconds. So that's gonna be very good. The aerial effect, it seems to be the same. It is 3 meters or ranges or squares. I don't know, feet. I don't know what's the measurement they have here, but it's gonna be 3. The cooldown, it's 13 seconds at max level. So I kind of want to have some cooldown reduction on her. One of the items that I like to have on her is going to be Executioner. The main reason is because it gives me a pretty decent amount of attack damage, which is going to be 50. It gives me extra HP, and it also gives me cooldown reduction. It gives me 10% cooldown reduction, which is going to be a thing whenever you play Valoria, because she actually does very well whenever you have a good cooldown reduction. Now, the ultimate, as you know, guys, they did change it. How it is right now is you still have a buff. The buff is going to be 15 seconds, so you can have it for as long as you like, and you're going to be able to see the duration of the ultimate, just like a circle going just by the edge of the ability. If you keep an eye on it, you're going to be able to use it whenever it is just about to run out. That way you're going to be able to get the best out of this ability. And why you want to do that? Because it's going to increase your damage by 20%. That is very good, guys, and it's gonna last 15 seconds. And while this ability is active, you can use it yet another time, and you're gonna deal an AoE damage around you, and it's going to be pretty nice damage. As you can see, the base damage is going to be physical, and it's going to be 350 damage. It doesn't have any skill ratio. However, the less amount of HP that the enemy has, the higher the damage will become. The percentage ratio, it's 3, so it's going to be having good damage overall. And the cooldown overall is going to be 45 seconds. Again, if you have some cooldown reduction, you're going to be able to pull a very good stuns off, because you're going to be able to be jumping here and there without many problems overall. Now, something that I wanted to tell you is I'm going to go ahead and talk about some of the core items that I like to have with Valoria. For example, one of the items that I like to have and I love to have is Executioner. Another item that I like to have is Power of the Gods, because those two items give me very good amount of HP. Even though Power of the Gods give me mana, I'm not trying to get it for that. It's just leaving that aside. It gives me movement speed. It gives me a good amount of attack damage. I think it's 30, but I get it just for the attack speed and the passive that it has. Other items that you can get, I like to get a Reaper Sight. That's gonna be my third item, and then the other two items I like to get defensive items. The first defensive item is going to be Elven Armor, just because if I'm facing more magical damaging champions, I'm going to go for Elven Armor. If I'm having problems with an AD champion, I can of course go for Royal Shield. I don't really like to have Flame Armor on her. I think since the thing is that I decided to not have agility shoes on her, because the mobility that she has, it's very good already, so you can chase enemies pretty well. If you have an item like Royal Shield, it's going to increase your chances of being able to chase enemies even further or more efficiently, because you're going to be able to make the enemy slow whenever they hit you. Now, the reason why I decided to change the agility shoes is because I was using the Tennessee shoes. It gives you 35% Tennessee resistance or Tennessee. So it's gonna help you a lot whenever you get stunned, whenever you get charmed, whenever you get into different problems, guys, because it's gonna give you crowd control. So that's gonna be always a good thing. For I guess one combo that I have, let me see if I can show you a little bit here. What I try to do, guys, is since the abilities don't use mana, I try to spam them as much as I can. The reason is because every time that you use an ability, you're gonna get additional damage on your basic attacks. So we have to take advantage of our passive. The passive is gonna be playing a good role because it's additional damage. Who doesn't want any additional damage? I want additional damage, therefore I will try to keep my stacks up as possible, as much as possible as I can. That is the main reason why I started by casting the ability. Like my first ability, I cast it as soon as I can, because my next 3 basic attacks are going to do additional damage. So regardless of that, as you can see, it helps me a lot with mobility. She has very good mobility. She has very good sustain because of her second ability. You don't have to overdo it. You don't have to go... if you want to play it, her safe, and she's going to be doing very well, go for the build that I told you. For defensive items, just get the defensive shoes, get Elven Armor, get Royal Shield, and then for your attack items and penetration items, you're going to go ahead and get Executioner, Power of the Guts, and... the last one is gonna be Reaper Sight. So that's the thing that you kind of want to keep in mind, because she is very effective like that. You can of course build her attack speed, critical damage. You can just critical rate. You can build her however you like. Now the build that I have, I just like it. I will share the build on my Facebook page, or I'll leave it on the description below as well, so that you can see it. Now, right here, one way in which you can combo is the following. For example, if you want to close the gap between you and your enemy, what you can pretty much do is the following. You can use your first ability twice and just be very mindful of it. And then you like leave one charge behind. Okay, let's pretend that you don't have any charges. So you're gonna use your first ability twice, and that is going to give you, it's going to give you an upper hand, because it's going to give you 2 stacks on your passive. Now what you want to do next is you want to use your second ability to close the gap. That alone is going to give you a shield, and is going to give you your third attack stack. Okay, so with that, you're going to have your 3 stacks. You're going to have 1 attack left on your first ability, and it's going to be the knock up. Okay, and that is very important, because you want to keep that knock up whenever you need it, and it's better to use it whenever you're close to the enemy, because that way they're not going to be able to respond that quick, and it's going to be more efficient. So again, use your first ability 2 times, use your second ability, close the gap, hit the enemy of course, because they're going to be stunned. You get to hit him once or twice if you like, if you have good attack speed, and then you can use your first ability yet another time, and that way you're going to be able to knock the enemy. And just by doing that, it's going to provide so much damage because you're going to be able to knock up the enemy, stun the enemy, and hit him with not only with your basic attacks but with your passive as well. So leaving that aside, like the abilities, the first ability, it allows you to jump towards the desired location 3 times. The third one is going to knock up the enemy. The second ability, you pretty much just jump to the desired location, and where you land, you're going to stun the enemy, and not only that, you're actually going to generate a shield. So that is very, very game changing because you can actually jump inside of the tower, take 2 hits from the tower, and be just fine, because since it doesn't require any mana, you're gonna be able to spam it. And here I'm being very aggressive just because, well, I don't think they know how to play much, but I just wanted to play this champion, and I'm sorry that you had to see this match, but I just wanted to get it out of the way because it's very, very difficult to play this champion for me. And the reason is just because my phone doesn't work properly. But the champion overall, it's very good. The champion is very good. She doesn't require much skill. Well, you could say that she requires some extent, some skill, because of the way that you have to use the abilities. It's not like you just spam all the abilities and that's it. No, you want to get the best out of your abilities. For like right here, I was able to tank 2 more hits, 2 additional hits, just because I decided to use my shield. Now right here, you can see that the damage that she has is pretty good. I already have the upper hand, and this is not gonna last any longer. But guys, this is gonna be the gameplay that I have for Valoria. The reason why I wanted to show you this is because a lot of people want to play this champion because she's very good champion. That's why I want to share the build. The way that I start, I always start with Shield of Endurance and Sword of Rage. That is just because it gives me a lot of sustain. As you can see here, I went for Executioner. I do have the defensive shoes, and I have some attack speed, and what I get next, it is some lifesteal. After I survive longer, I get Power of the Gods, and then the third item is going to be Reaper Sight. Then after I get enough attack, or if I'm having problems, I can get a defensive item, and then just start with the stacks for, in this case, for Reaper Sight. Now, the reason why I kind of want to keep the build that I have, it's because it has good sustain. It has 20% cooldown reduction. It has very good defense. It has tendency, which is crowd control, and you're gonna have so many things that you can take an advantage of. Now, the gems, it depends. It depends on your playstyle, because of the build that I have. Getting additional damage could be an option. Also, getting attack speed and getting penetration if I like. So those 3 things are things that I would want, because on the build that I have, I already have enough defense. I have a shit ton of HP, and I have a lot of magical resistance. And that is just because, I mean, like, the thing is the following: you don't need to have 4 defensive magical items to be effective. If you have, for example, I was gonna build 2. I was gonna get Elven Armor just because of I like the passive, and I like that it gives me more lifesteal. That's very, very amazing. And I'm get 10% more cooldown reduction from Executioner. So that's gonna be 20% right there. If you want to get some cooldown reduction on your gems, that's gonna be amazing. You can have maybe 8%, 10% on there. You're gonna have 30%. You should be doing just fine with that. All the other items are gonna be pretty much for you to sustain. You're gonna be doing very well, guys. Like the shield that you have, it's very good. You can close the gap very easily. You don't really need agility shoes. You can pretty much use any shoes that you like. So that's going to be a thing. The reason why I usually go for this is because, for example, Camellia has a lot of crowd control. If you want to reduce her effectiveness, let's say, of course, you want to get some resistance against what she can excel at. So guys, this is the gameplay that I have for Valoria. I am sorry that you had to see me fighting probably somebody who didn't know how to play, but that's just the way that the queue system is. I queue in 1v1s. Of course, not a lot of people like 1v1s, and the people who do it, are usually the new players. So most of the time I have been facing new players, but since the update I've been facing more skilled players. The only problem is, since the phone doesn't work properly, I have a hard time just defeating them. Now guys, well, this is gonna be all. I hope that I got to touch the things that you wanted to know about Valoria, because she is very technical. You have to know what the abilities do before you start spamming the abilities. But overall, spam your abilities as much as you can. Don't be afraid of hitting and running if you want to do so, because your abilities only have a cooldown. They don't require energy, they don't require mana, so that is gonna be right there like an upper hand overall, because you can sustain longer. And that is the main reason why I decided to get lifesteal, because if you already have lifesteal and you don't need mana, I mean, just refill your HP and you're gonna be doing just fine. I mean, you're not gonna have any problems. She's very powerful. The ultimate is gonna help her so much, because if you get Reaper Sight, you're gonna get 100 damage. You get Executioner, that's an additional 50. You get Power of the Gods, that's an additional 30, I believe. So you're gonna have 180%, plus the base damage that she already has built into her. Now that is a very good amount of damage, attack damage. Now, if you have all that together, let's say you go around 200%, you go around 200 attack damage. Whenever you use your ultimate, you're gonna get 20% more on top of that. So if you get 20% on top of 200, that's going to be 40 more damage. So 240 damage plus all the defense you have and the shit tons of HP that you have, because you have Royal Shield, more HP, you have Elven Armor, more HP, you have Executioner, which is more HP, and you have Power of the Gods. So those 4 items are going to be like a bruiser-like build, because you're going to be able to have some good damage built into the build. It sounds weird, but yeah. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that this is helpful. I guess I just wanted to extend it a little bit longer so I could explain this champion, because well, a lot of players want to play this champion. So overall, guys, that is the experience that I have. I am using mainly the experience that I have from TAC, and that is because this champion hasn't changed much. However, it is far more effective because the ultimate now is an AoE, which is easier to land, and on top of that, you get a shield on your second ability. So it just is very good. The build is pretty much the same. It is a build that I used to have with TAC, and it's just the same. But the thing is that she's better because of the things that she has now. So yeah, it was just a buff. So guys, have a great day, guys. And sorry that you have to say this.